Once upon a time, in a bustling kingdom, for people from vastly different walks of life passed away at the very same moment. One was the powerful king who ruled the land, another a wealthy and successful merchant. The third was a priest known for conducting elaborate religious ceremonies, and the last was a poor laborer who spent his life toiling to feed his family. Though they lived vastly different lives, fate had united them in death. They soon found themselves standing at the gates of the afterlife, before the grand throne of Yama, the god of death. To one side of Yama stood the radiant gate to heaven, from which emanated divine light and a cool, calming breeze. On the other side was the gate of hell, from which emerged blazing heat and screams of torment. Standing next to Yama was his assistant, the keeper of the book of life for every soul. As the four awaited their judgment, they began to speak among themselves. The king, standing tall and confident, declared, "Surely I will be granted entry into heaven. I ruled justly and donated vast sums to the poor. I built temples and schools. My people love me." The merchant chimed in, equally assured, "I too have given generously. I fed the poor and donated to temples. Heaven awaits me." The priest added, "I have spent my life conducting rituals and guiding people on the path of righteousness. If heaven is for anyone, it is certainly for me." They turned to the poor laborer, who sat quietly with a humble smile. "What great deeds have you done to deserve heaven?" they mocked. The laborer replied, "I have done no great deeds. I simply worked hard every day to care for my family and serve my aging parents." They laughed at him, dismissing his simple life. Finally, it was time for judgment. Yama's assistant stepped forward and summoned the king. "You ruled wisely and donated generously," the assistant confirmed after reading from the Book of Life. "But you also waged wars for greed, killing thousands of innocents. Your good deeds are outweighed by your sins. You must go to hell." The king was stunned, his pride shattered. Next came the merchant. The assistant read aloud, "You did give food and money to the poor, but you charged poor farmers high interest rates, kept them in debt, and sold impure goods that caused illness. Your karma has weighed against you. You cannot go to heaven." The merchant bowed his head in shame. Then the priest stepped forward. The assistant read from his book and said, "You performed rituals and guided others, but your motives were selfish. You took money in the name of God and preached righteousness while harboring greed. You cannot go to heaven." The priest's face fell with despair. Finally, it was the poor laborer's turn. "What deeds have you done, my son?" the assistant asked. The laborer answered, "I did nothing extraordinary. I worked honestly, fed my family, and served my parents. That is all." The assistant flipped through the Book of Life and paused. "Do you recall a time when you fed a hungry stray dog your only piece of bread?" The laborer thought for a moment. "Yes, I do remember. I had just finished work and had one piece of bread left. As I was about to eat, a starving dog came near. I gave it my food and went to bed hungry." The assistant closed the book and looked at him with grace. "That act, though small, was selfless and pure. Combined with your lifetime of honest work and filial devotion, you have earned a place in heaven." The gates of heaven opened, and the laborer walked through in awe, while the others watched in disbelief. The lesson of the afterlife, this tale reminds us that true merit is not always found in grand gestures or religious rituals, but in the purity of our hearts and the sincerity of our actions. The king, merchant, and priest all performed notable deeds, but their motivations were tainted by pride, greed, and ego. Meanwhile, the laborer's humility and simple act of compassion outweighed them all. In life, we are often drawn to external achievements, titles, wealth, and recognition. But in the realm of karma, intention matters more than impression. A selfless act done in silence, with no expectation of reward, carries more spiritual weight. The laborer's story is a profound example of what it means to live with integrity. He did not seek to impress anyone or gain recognition. He simply did what was right, even when no one was watching. And that, in the eyes of the divine, is enough. Bringing it to our lives, we can take several lessons from this tale. Live honestly. Earn your living through honest means. Even if you have little, Having peace of mind and a clean conscience is far more valuable. Practice compassion. Every small act of kindness matters. Whether it's feeding a stray animal, helping a stranger, or caring for a loved one, it all adds up. Serve your parents. Caring for one's elders is among the most revered deeds in many spiritual traditions. Check your intentions. Before every action, ask yourself, am I doing this for recognition or out of true compassion? Don't judge by appearances. Greatness often comes wrapped in humility. The one who appears least significant may carry the greatest inner light. In a world that often celebrates wealth, power, and public piety, this story gently reminds us that true righteousness lies in simple, quiet, and compassionate living. May we all strive to cultivate such a heart. If this story touched your heart, stay tuned for the next video on Enlightened Mind, where we explore how Buddha responded to a powerful warrior seeking the meaning of life. Make sure to subscribe and let your light shine by sharing this story with someone who needs to hear it. Be the light. Live with kindness. Walk the path.